The epicenter, 52 miles east of Kathmandu, near the border with China. The quake, relatively shallow, fractionally deeper actually than the one on April 25th, about 12 miles deep. The new earthquake is closer to Mount Everest and, as I say, that little bit deeper than the one which killed nearly 8,000 people and injured 17,000 17 days ago. It was centred near Gorkha, to the west of Kathmandu. Let's bring in Steve Collins, who's Nepal country manager from the charity Tearfund, joins us via Skype from Kathmandu. Welcome to you. Tell us about the work that Tearfund is doing to begin with.
Yeah, Tearfund is at the moment working with our partner organisations out in some of the most affected areas. We've been distributing relief supplies for the last 2 weeks since the earthquake, and also getting out into some of the areas which haven't been reached by others so far, trying to assess what we can do as our part in the coordinated international effort.
And just to begin with this morning as well, I mean, I think there were some warnings of aftershocks even as we were about to speak to you, Steve. I mean, what was it like this morning?
Yeah, I was in the office at the time with my colleagues, and the building started shaking quite strongly, but not that strongly, and we all just managed to get out into an open area in front of the office, and then it started shaking really strongly, strong swaying for about a minute, and then actually for quite a long time afterwards. The ground was just moving very gently under our feet. And there's been a lot of aftershocks since as well, according to some of the websites, as many as 6 or 8 strong aftershocks, one of those being a 6.3 grade itself. So, you know, some of the aftershocks are earthquakes themselves.
Yeah. I suppose if you're a country facing the kind of difficulties that Nepal is currently facing, you have to count your blessings. One is that this earthquake didn't strike at night time when everybody would have been inside, and that would have been much more difficult for people to cope with. And, of course, aid workers like you. I mean, clearly aid workers are a constant presence in Nepal for a variety of reasons, but many have poured in the wake of the April 25th earthquake, and many are still around.
That's right. I mean, one of the other blessings as well was that the government schools haven't opened yet. They're due to open, well, were due to open next week. And in our assessments in the villages, we've seen a lot of schools which has been very, very badly damaged and are clearly just unsafe for use at the moment. And if the kids would have been inside those schools, many more of them could have died as well.
One of the difficulties for people, for families out there, is that after the quake, many of them took to gardens, parks, parade grounds, whatever they could, under canvas in encampments, tented cities that sprang up.
That's right.
And after a few days, people perhaps had suffered a few rain showers, they were worried about waterborne diseases, and they thought, you know, I'll take a risk. I'll go back to my home. There's a hairline fracture there. Maybe the thing isn't structurally sound, but they went back. And now they face that painful choice all over again, don't they?
That's right. I mean, I was just cycling home from the office to be with my family this evening, and there was a lot of people sitting out on the street. But out in the countryside, it's completely different, because I think most of the people out in the communities have not yet returned into their houses. They're just too scared to do that. Many of the houses, even if they're still standing, are extremely badly damaged. They're built out of heavy rocks held together with mud, and have a lot of cracks in them, even if they're still standing. So those folks have been sleeping outside ever since the earthquake, and you know, it's been raining today as well, very heavily. Sorry, last night, very, very heavily. And so they're in a really sort of difficult situation, as you say, just with a lot of uncertainty for the future.
Our thoughts often turn to children at a time like this, don't they? I mean, some people make the point that, you know, kids are a lot more resilient than we give them credit for sometimes, and I'm sure that's often true. But it's also true, isn't it, that when a child sees a parent, their authority figure who keeps them safe from harm, panic-stricken, that has a lasting impact.
Yes, yeah. I was out in the communities earlier this week at one of the relief distributions, and there's a remarkably strong spirit among the community, but everybody was saying that the kids are very traumatized and suffering a lot of fear. We also got a report back yesterday in some communities that particularly adolescents are really struggling. Have been really shaken by this, and even before the earthquake, there was actually very, very high suicide rates among adolescents, and this sort of thing isn't going to help.
Well, Steve Collins, we wish you well in the work that you and Tearfund are doing out there in Nepal. Thanks very much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much.